Hello, and welcome back to the 9th installment in a series of videos about the development of Japanese printmaking and the collection of Japanese works on paper at the Honolulu Museum of Art. I'm Stephen Salel, the curator of Japanese art. The subject of this video is the print designer Katsukawa Shunsho, who was active from the 1760s through the turn of the 19th century. Shunsho originally studied printmaking under the Torii school. A school of printmaking means a group of artists who studied together under one teacher or a lineage of designers through which a specific aesthetic is passed down from one generation to the next. As a member of the Torii school, Torii Kiyonobu, the subject of our third video, specialized in portraits of kabuki actors. And as one of Kiyonobu's successors, Shunsho was trained in this subject as well. However, Shunsho soon disassociated himself from the Torii school and thereafter founded his own. Some of Shunsho's work shows clear stylistic influence from Suzuki Harunobu, his contemporary and the subject of our 7th video. Shunsho actually began employing the techniques of full-color woodblock printmaking, nishikie, around the same time as Harunobu. Enjoying a long career, Shunsho was involved in a variety of trends that accompanied the early development of nishikie. Like Kitagawa Utamaro, for example, he experimented in bust portraiture, o kubie in Japanese. The identity of his subjects was very important to Shunsho, and in a woodblock printed book he produced with Kitao Shigemasa, he offers a wealth of information about the personal lives of courtesans, all of whose names he inscribes next to their portraits. In the third volume of this book, he even transcribes poems written by the women themselves. The vast majority of Shunsho's oeuvre, however, is in the field of kabuki actor prints. Despite his interest in highlighting the individual personalities of his subjects, at first glance, these images can appear homogeneous and even formulaic. Almost all of the prints are in hosoban format, 33 centimeters high by 15 centimeters wide. In each, he typically depicts a single figure, standing erect and facing to the right or left. Among his images of onagata, male actors who specialize in female roles, all of the figures are shown with the most current hairstyle, the torobin, or lantern hairstyle, in which the hair dramatically flares out at the temples and is gathered at the back of the head with a number of combs and pins. Some of the actors have added colorful caps that cover only the crown of their heads. Each of the actors positions his forearm across his chest, holding an object like a teapot, supporting his other arm as he cradles his chin, grasping the handle of his sword, or for no apparent reason at all. Occasionally, these images of onagata are arranged together as a multi-sheet composition, in which the figures seem to gaze at one another but otherwise refrain from interaction. The only indication of each actor's identity seems to be the crest on his costume. Similarly, among Shunsho's images of actors performing in the roles of samurai or mercenaries, each of the figures raises his weapon, and each uses kumadori makeup on his face to emphasize an aspect of his character, such as his quest for justice. Like Shunsho's onagata, these commonalities seem to de-emphasize each character's individuality. Even when these two types of actors are paired in prints, with the warrior standing tall and the onagata crouching, Shunsho relies upon the crests on the figure's clothing to identify them. Or does he? Although it may not be obvious, these prints by Shunsho constituted a revolutionary step in the history of Japanese portraiture. Each one captures the distinctive facial characteristics of the actor it depicts. The prints are therefore called nigaoe, literally pictures of facial resemblance. This print, which Shunsho published in 1764, is believed to be one of the first works in the genre. Realistic portraiture became a tenet of the Katsukawa school that Shunsho established at this time. Since photography had not yet been invented, we have no objective way in which to determine how realistic Shunsho's nigaoe prints are. However, if we compare multiple depictions of the same actor, we can detect similarities among the portraits and thereby deduce how accurately they capture an actor's likeness. One particularly frequent subject of Shunsho was Ichikawa Danjiro V, the most highly respected kabuki actor of his generation. When seen side by side, certain facial characteristics of Danjiro V begin to emerge. His nose was particularly tall and hooked. His mouth was bent downward into what seems to be a permanent pout. His eyes were quite narrow, and echoing the shape of his mouth, their outer corners dipped downward. His eyebrows were set high on his forehead. The overall shape of his face was rather long and thin. Along with his insignia, 3 concentric squares, these facial features make Ichikawa Danjiro V relatively easy to identify in a print with multiple figures. With the realization that Shunsho was employing this technique, we can now appreciate details in the works that we had previously viewed. The round face of Iwai Hanshiro IV, in contrast to the elongated face of Nakamura Riko I, the pronounced chin of Sawamura Sojiro II, in contrast to the rounded chin of Matsumoto Koshiro IV, and the jowls of Ichikawa Monosuke II. Imagine how excited the adoring fans of these actors must have been to see these images. In our next video, we will see Danjiro V again later in his life, when he passed his title on to his student and changed his name to Ichikawa Ebizo. At that time, the mysterious artist known as Toshusai Sharaku continued Shunsho's experiments with nigaoe and pushed the technique to expressionistic extremes.